Hey guys, it's TF now. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another action figure review. This is going to be of the Marvel Legends series Spider-Man Homecoming, part of a new release of Spider-Man figures that have been coming out this past month. Peter Parker and Ned Leeds 2-pack. To be quite honest, I didn't know that I wanted a Ned Leeds figure, so it's cool that the Hasbro team made this happen, as well as a Peter Parker figure. These can also work as civilian characters or younger civilians too. So this is a really cool 2-pack. Hopefully eventually they'll figure out a way to re-release the Zendaya figure, the MJ figure there, because I never was able to get it from that Target 2-pack. Never saw that 2-pack. But it's really cool that we have these figures, even if it is in the new controversial box here, which I'm going to go ahead and take an in-depth look at. So, top half, it says Marvel Legends series. Both of the figures on the box there. It's a digital render. It's just a neutral poses. Over on the left, Ned Leeds. Over on the right, Peter Parker. You can see the Spider-Man from the MCU in the blue backdrop there. Bottom half, it says Marvel Spider-Man Homecoming. Over on the left, ages 4 and up, as well as a warning choking hazard and the Hasbro logo. On this side here, it's just neutral stances of the digital renders of the figures. It says Marvel Legends series towards the top. Over on this side, some cool artwork, basically like a hand-drawn homemade Spider-Man suit from the movie, as well as a Midtown High patch and pencil. You also see Marvel Legends series towards the bottom. On top here, it's just the Spider logo that was used for the movie on the suit there, so not much going on here. On the bottom here, there's also not much stuff. It's just a bunch of multilingual legal stuff that I don't really understand. But zooming in real quick, you can see the barcode in case you need it. I've been seeing these at local Target, so there you go. Here's the back of the packaging, a wide shot here. Looks like Amazon really did a number on the back of the box here. We look a little bit closer. Marvel Legends series towards the top left. Ned Leeds and Peter Parker's names there, as well as the figures and the accessories that they all come with. Bottom half, not a lot going on here. It just says includes 2 figures and 7 accessories in a bunch of different languages. You also have the Marvel and Hasbro logos there too. Let's go ahead and get this 2-pack out. And here are both figures out of the packaging. I actually like these figures quite a bit. I think that this is a very fun set, and I'm very glad the Hasbro Marvel Legends team was able to get us this set. There are some problems I'm having with at least Peter right now that seems like is very common with the new release of figures. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories for Peter. We're going to start with him, and then we'll take a look at Ned. So here's everything the figure comes with. You get an alternate head. You also get some alternate hands, as well as a book. I think that could also be used for Ned, but the promo images show Peter with the book, and the backpack that the figure came packaged with. First of all, here's that unmasked head, this more smiling, open mouth head. I didn't really like it in the promotional images, but in person it's actually not that bad. I do think it looks a very good amount like Tom Holland. So here's that other head next to the the alternate head right there. I think the more stern look looks a little bit more like Tom Holland, if you ask me. I have an image of Tom Holland here from Homecoming just to give it a comparison right there. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Then I have this head from the Walmart exclusive upgraded suit figure that I reviewed at the end of 2021. And yeah, I think that the newer heads are looking better than the one that we got here. And we also got this, I believe, with an Iron Man, Iron Spider 2-pack from Infinity War. Just to give you a comparison right there. So to talk about the rest of the actual head, what I like about this is the printing on the eyes is pretty nicely straightforward. It's a little bit of a splotch on the left eyebrow there. In some angles, it's not that bad. Other angles, it's pretty noticeable, unfortunately. But the teeth actually, I think the paint on the teeth actually came through really nice. I think it just looks a little weird to me because you don't get any white teeth paint on the bottom here, just on the top. But the creases around the mouth, for when he's smiling, all that looks good. There's even some creases around his eyes. I think that looks really good. There is some variation in brown as well in the hair. That's like a lighter brown throughout the dark brown, and I really like that. So I don't really have that many complaints with this head sculpt. We have 2 fists. I feel like we may have gotten these sculpts before. I could be wrong. These are most likely shorter than some other hands that we've gotten. If they're reused, then they've definitely shrunk down. In person, I feel like, the peg in the disc here that goes, makes the hinge. I feel like that's darker in person. So, and more shinier, and this is more matte. But on the camera, it doesn't look like there's any different variations in the skin color. So that's not too bad. There is some detail on the back of the hands you can see to make it look a little realistic, except it doesn't look all that great if you ask me. The scrunching right there on the fist. But it's not horrible. The book's very basic. I think we might have gotten this with Gwen Stacy before. I don't have that figure or that book right now, but it's a very basic light brown book here. No paint right here at all. For, you know, like they could have added white for the pages. That would have been nice. It's just a basic black. No, it's brown, of course. A basic brown mold for it. The backpack, though, was pretty nice. It's like this beige, really like light yellow or beige khaki type of backpack here. I do like the wrinkles going all throughout. See some pouches, zippers, have all that really nice paint there. It doesn't look like there's any splotching where there's color in the zippers there. But the rest of this definitely needed some paint or like a wash to bring out these details. You do have these straps that actually do have some nice details there. This is a little distracting that you're looking at it, you know, face forward. You know, the separation of the plastic. This is a hard plastic, and this is also a hard plastic, but they just glued all this together to, you know, secure these pieces as this is going in between that. But it's not an awful system, and it's gonna be all this gappage is gonna be covered on his back when he's wearing it, so it's not that big of a deal. Actual strap right there for holding, if you really wanted to. The shoulder straps, all that looks really good. No paint. Well, no, I was about to say no paint on the buckles, but a lot of backpacks don't have metal buckles, so yeah, I'm not gonna complain there. It's pretty easy to slip on the backpack, and yeah, that's a big issue right there, which that's not broken, but that's something I will be bringing up when I do the detail of the actual figure. Get back in there, darn you. But, you know, in theory, sliding it on and off, I'm not doing the greatest job right now because this is falling apart, but yeah. Anyway, that's what it looks like when he has the backpack in. So I did some quick head swaps with the heads from this set onto some Spider-Man figures. Now, this stern face is really not going to fit on anything you see here. I also can't find the homemade suit figure. I don't know where that is, unfortunately. Can't show that off in this review. But it looks like, from what I've experienced, the smiling head actually has a bit of a smaller neck hole going onto the peg. So it actually fits on figures like the integrated suit and the upgraded suit pretty well. It also fits on the Iron Spider MCU's figure decently as well. But neither of the heads are going to fit on the 2017 Spider-Man because the size of the neck peg is really small. And then I put that Walmart exclusive upgraded suit unmasked head on the Peter Parker body here, just to show you. It does fit. I think it looks a little too high up and a little too small for the body, though. Now, let's talk about the stern face here. Shifting this to the right, and then you can see the image of Tom Holland right there. Again, I think this might be the best Marvel Legends Tom Holland likeness we've gotten in figure form. It looks really good. It's not perfect. A lot of the time it's not, like 100%. But it usually is really, really close, like 90% a lot of the times. Anyway, I do like the paint on this one here. I don't have a problem with the eyebrow that I did on the smiling face. And pretty much every angle, it looks a lot like Tom. The face printing looks good. There's even only a tiny bit of variation in the color on his face, I think. I feel like, I could be wrong. It feels like there's some parts that might have a little bit of blush in there, but that could be just me. They do have the nice lip color in there. The hair sculpt, again, is pretty nice. Light brown paint onto the darker brown sculpt there. I really dig how all that came out. It's really good looking. And you do have this neck system in here. It has a little bit of gappage, unfortunately, and it's just mostly a glossy skin tone. That's the biggest problem, probably with the skin tones. It's a little too glossy. I'm not sure what spray people use to touch up to make it look more matte, but you're probably going to want to do that with this head sculpt there to make this not look as glossy, because it shines pretty bad in the lights here. The lights aren't even that close. The patterning on the flannel is actually really good. I like this more like red, purplish, maroon, whatever color going on with the white and black. It might be a little bit of an imperfection right here, but that's not too bad. The rest of this is molded in up here in a harder plastic of green, and I can actually see it on camera. It's not the easiest to see, but in person and on camera you can definitely tell there's starting to be some variation of green in a lot of areas because of different types of plastic going on. The elbow joints in particular, looking forward here, it looks a lot lighter than here and here. And this isn't as glossy as these parts too, and this looks a little bit lighter than that. So that could be a little annoying for some people. In person, it's not that noticeable, but on camera, I notice it pretty badly. But the wrinkling, like all that detail, I think looks really good. And pinless tech too. You know, they're using a lot more pinless tech. They're definitely using pinless tech for pretty much every MCU figure that isn't a complete reuse. So there's that. A lot of times MCU figures aren't all that reused to begin with. I guess it depends on the character. This is a lot more matte. This is actually a softer plastic overlay compared to this hard plastic chest. So yeah, and all that's glossy. You can see the texturing on there. A lot more wrinkles here. These hands, the actual sculpt, I think we've gotten since Icarus from Eternals, but these are definitely smaller than those hands. I actually like these relaxed hands. I think they actually are done pretty well. So that's cool. I don't know. There might be some smaller hands in my arsenal of hand accessories that can also work for Spider-Man here. Kind of wish we got a thwip hand that was, you know, without the glove on, but I don't think he did that without gloves on, so that makes sense. Let me just go ahead and talk about this. Every single figure lately from this release of Spider-Man figures, they just have these really gummy joints, and they're really small pins. And that pops out easily, and it pops back in just as easily. That is way too gummy, though. Way too gummy for my liking, and that's just going to keep happening whenever I want to move the arms around, so I'm not a fan of that. I had to pause real quick because I was about to cough up a lung from a sinus infection I've been fighting for the past few days. I do apologize for that. So we do have that flannel continued here on the soft plastic piece, and then the rest of this is this yellow, pretty dark yellowish, like khaki type pants. The pockets on the back, lots of creases. You have a little bit of creases on the back of the actual joints, which also, this looks brighter. This looks brighter, pretty bright in person. Not as bright as on camera though. This definitely looks bright compared to these darker yellow, you know, thighs and calves. So that seems like a common thing with pinless tech lately, unfortunately, or whatever they have decided to do, where the colors are different. Because I don't know if it's because the pinless tech or they just don't realize what's going on. But hopefully they find out soon, because some people, it doesn't bug me as much. It's just something that is worth noting that could get out of hand in the future. We do have wrinkles pretty much all throughout the legs. Pretty nice seam line on the inside of the pants, or I should say the inside of the legs. Get down to these even more creases down towards the calves. You can actually see, I guess, I don't know, is that supposed to be like, are these boots supposed to go up that high? Because the way that this looks on the ankles looks like it's more of a sock material, but they painted it brown. But, you know, it blends in to make it look, you know, like part of the shoe. I just dropped that thing on its face. So let's put these down a little bit. You can see the top of the shoes. Nice laces. I don't know if we've gotten these before in the Marvel Legends line. Wouldn't put it past them if they just shrunk down some sneakers that we've gotten. And we do have the bottom of the feet. You're not going to pay attention that much to the bottom of the feet, but there is a splotch on the bottom there. These seams, or whatever these are for the outside there on the white, all that looks pretty good. A little bit of a brown splotch there. Paint's not perfect on this figure. It could be a lot worse, though. I've seen much worse from this line lately. Alright, articulation time. We have a double ball peg going into the head as well into the neck. I did pop off the neck where it meets the sweater. There's a ball peg planted into that upper torso. That's going to allow for a lot of range of motion. Mostly moved in the head, not so much in the actual neck. But you get tilt, and you actually get pretty nice up. You get an assistance on the down because of the neck. So that's as far down it goes, and rotation's fine. Can't really rotate at the neck. I mean, it can. It's just a little bit tight there. Arms go all the way around. The head articulation is just really good. In and out at the arms here. That's going to pop out any second. But it does swivel. We have double jointed elbows that bend pretty well. Doesn't look the most natural for some reason to me, but that's fine. I'm not going to complain about it right now. We do have a swivel at the wrist. There's a hinge to the wrist for all sets of hands. Ball jointed waist. Backward that much. Forward that much. Side to side. All the way around. At the back and forth is not really that amazing. Forward like this. Not really back at all. At the legs. In and out splits actually pretty good. Upper thigh swivel. Double jointed knees. You do actually get that rotation at the ankle where the brown is, so that's good. You get, it's a little bit hard to maneuver, but downward, upward at the ankle, and then you have an ankle rocker. You don't have a lot of accessories for Ned, unfortunately, just an unmasked head. I'm going to go ahead and put on the figure. We also have the masked head he comes packaged with. We have the backpack as well there. Yeah, not a lot of stuff. Here's that masked head. I'll take a look at the backpack in a second. But as you can see, the eyes actually have some really good details around here where the black meets the white. I think a little bit of layering on the sculpting there. It looks like the white might be overlapping a little bit on the black based on that crease. You see there? It's not that bad though. Nice patterning. You can see that throughout like textures on the red here. And then you get to the sculpted web lines on there too. With some nice wrinkles all the way around the neck. All this fits the size of his head. His ears protruding outward a little bit since, this is pretty stretchy mask, but you can tell it's kind of pushing it. His head is bigger than Peter's. So, that's pretty sick. I think that this is a really fun and cool addition to the set, was including this. Because Ned doesn't really come with that much stuff. The only other thing he comes with is a backpack. And I don't know exactly what this color is right here, but you have that splatter throughout with the brown, the black, as well as it's molded in this green. What I like about the backpack, similar to Peter's, is we have texturing of like mesh, kind of, in some areas. It is mostly a hard plastic green, though, that's molded in. It has some nice wrinkles. And then the gappage on this backpack isn't as bad as Peter's. It's a hard plastic too. Whatever like nylon or whatever is supposed to be here is nicely sculpted for the straps and the buckles. The actual straps here too. Here is the Ned figure. These are pretty large straps. So you just slip all that in. And it may look a little baggy. But it droops down towards his back. And it actually fits around his shoulders, I think, really well. Alright, I'll go ahead and let you guys get your CO of sex jokes out of the way real quick in the comments. And we'll go ahead and move on with the review. Let's get an image of Jacob Bell on here to compare likenesses. I think it's pretty close, actually. It's not perfect, like I said with Peter and really any MCU Marvel Legends figure. A lot of it's very, very close. This figure is no exception, I think. I think it's a pretty nice looking figure here. We have really great face printing tech, nice lip color, nice creases in the face. I had to zoom in earlier around here to focus up, and yours, I don't know if I can get a good look, but there's like, they have like textures of like his like freckles maybe. Just basically his complexion in the face printing, and I think that they did a pretty good job. You gotta really look hard to see it though. So, it's not the most impressive thing in the world, but I did notice it when I zoomed in on this figure. And just like Peter, we do have variation of brown. So we have a light brown painted onto the dark brown sculpt, and I think it brings out those details pretty nicely. It could be a little better, but a lot of times some heads just don't have that kind of paint on there. So it's nice to see that here. We do have this paint on this overlayer. This overlayered shirt. This is all softer plastic. It's not super malleable. That's even the right word I'm thinking of. Or pliable, maybe. Some of the texturing looks like, I feel like this is supposed to go like more like meeting the actual like outer shirt, you know, where that white is on the blue. But other parts looks like it's not 100% clean. The outer shirt's bleeding onto the blue. There's not enough white going towards the undershirt. It's better towards the bottom. But the paint apps are not spectacular here. Yeah. So it's a little disappointing for how much you're paying more for. If you look on the back, we have some nice wrinkles on this outer shirt, but it looks in person and on the camera, I don't know what they're doing. They have like this two-tone type of plastic going on. This is supposed to be the same color as this and vice versa. So I don't really know what's going on there. But all the other wrinkles, armholes, the pocket protector, that looks nice, buttons. And then you do get these exposed arms. We've gotten this watch plenty of times with a couple other characters in the Marvel Legends line. I always liked how it looks, so I'm not going to complain about it. It is removable, and it's movable, as you can see, rotating around. He only comes packaged with these hands. If they gave him maybe like a phone, an alternate hand for the phone, I think that would have made this part of the figure, this actual figure, a little bit more worth it. He just comes with 2 accessories. Then we have some shading actually on the jeans, especially on the front here, but they don't continue it on the side, unfortunately. And it doesn't look like there's any wrinkles. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's that many wrinkles around the back of the knee, but they don't have much wrinklage like Peter's does on the back of those joints. And my biggest complaint is maybe they should put a little bit more shading of, this lighter shading on the each side, on the outer thighs at least. It's mostly on the front and on the knees, and on the calves, the thighs. But the rest of it, the actual texture, the wrinkles, the seam lines, all that looks good. Pinless tech on the knees. You do get down to the feet. I think the feet look pretty good. I would recommend they reuse these shoe molds because these look really good. You can see the top of the laces. These are more like shoes I wear, where they look a little athletic, but they seem comfortable. So I dig that. Lots of nice intricate details on the actual tennis shoe. On the bottom here, there's some treading. They have the same thing with Peter's ankles. That kind of looks like socks, but they're the same color as the shoes, and I don't think it's as bad here, honestly. I think it works. They have these rolled up cuffs. They have a little bit of a lighter paint. So, yeah. I mean, mainly biggest problem is just the sloppy paint going on the shirt. And not much shading on the sides here. But the rest of the detailing and sculpting is pretty good. There really isn't much detailing, though, on this shirt, this sleeve. They really skimped out on detailing when it comes to the paint. We all knew from the promotional images that this figure's articulation was going to be not as good as Peter's, but I'll show you just how not as good as it is. You get it into decent poses, of course. Heck, you go up pretty far, down pretty far. The rotation's fine. This head's a little bit tighter because it wasn't packaged on the figure. Unlike the Spider-Man masked head, that's going to move a little easier. Mine's a little tight here, but it still is functional. It has a little bit of a tilt, but not much. The head articulation isn't as good as Peter's. Arms go all the way around, in and out. Now, I'm not expecting him to do kung fu flips and whatnot, but articulation, I would hope, is a little bit better. But the arms so far are fine. They rotate and they go outward and inward fine. It's just a little bit hard to do that. We do have single joint elbows that don't get 90, unfortunately. Swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. I don't know what's going on with the waist articulation besides the swivel. I think there's maybe a ball joint in there so you can go forward and back, but it only swivels, so that's a little disappointing. Legs don't go out at all. In fact, this is as far as it goes out. And because either of this, this over, soft plastic shirt or whatever is going on with the joint, you push it forward, it wants to kick down, go downward on its own. So that's a little weird. It can go back sort of, but not a lot. Splits pretty good actually. Upper thigh swivel. Breaks up the sculpt a little bit, that's fine. Double jointed knees. Actually really good double joints there. Swivel at the ankle. Up and down is pretty decent actually at the foot, and then we do have ankle rockers that are a little bit limited by the cuffs of the pants. Quick side comparisons. I have some adult MCU figures far left. That is the No Way Home version of Doctor Strange. Far right, I put a 2016 Civil War Tony Stark head on a suit body, and you can see just how tall they are compared to teenage figures like this. Now it looks like integrated suit Spider-Man is actually a little bit shorter than Peter Parker in the middle, and I feel like they should be the same height. However, I'm really not going to be posing a Spider-Man figure with a Peter Parker figure in the same shot, so it's not that big of a deal to me. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid 2-pack. I just have problems with each figure. With Peter, it's just that the arms are really gummy to where the arms could pop out of the socket, and I don't like that. Some people might think I'm complaining just to complain, but that shows to me that it's not good quality plastic, the way that it's just way too soft. Every Spider-Man figure I have in the new releases so far have had gummy arms, and I don't know how long a problem like that can persist or even get worse, because to me, it tells me it's not good quality plastic for the price increases that we're getting in Marvel Legends lately. Only other nitpick is the knee and the elbow joints being a little discolored from the rest of, the respective body parts. It's not that noticeable in person. It's just mostly noticeable on camera. The rest of the figure is pretty nice. We have really good head articulation and good articulation throughout the rest of the body, but the head is especially good. Really nice accessories and detail, and the Tom Holland head sculpts are really nice. Now with Ned, it's a pretty solid figure too. It's just that there's no torso articulation at all. The paint in the chest with the shirt is really not good on my figure, so that's a little disappointing. I wish they continued the paint apps on the front of the legs throughout all the legs, or throughout all parts of the legs, I should say. But that's really it. It doesn't really come with that many accessories either for Ned, so that's a little disappointing. But this is a pretty solid 2-pack. It's pretty fun to mess around with. Having them do Best Bud stuff is pretty fun. A lot of people have been wanting a Ned Marvel Legends figure, so that is cool. It's just I don't think it's worth the $50 to $55 they're charging for. I got a price drop at Amazon for a little over $40 when I pre-ordered this, so that's a little bit more worth it to me. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figures, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there. I'll see you guys later.